Okay, so yeah, in this video, I'm going to talk about a profile manager, which I've been working on, and it's built on top of a platform called Solid, which stands for Social Linked Data. And it's a project that's being developed by Tim Berners-Lee. So Tim, if you have never heard of him, he is the guy that is known to have invented the World Wide Web. Okay. So the way that Solid works, I'm not going to go into much detail about it, but the way that Solid works is that you have this personal online data store, or a pod, as they call it. And using this pod, which stores all of your data, you can use it to log into applications, or at least applications that have been built using the Solid protocol. So you're not having to continuously register with different websites and trusting them with your data. You control your own data, and you can grant or revoke access to that data as and when required. Okay. You also get this thing called a web ID, which is used to identify you online. So now in the last video, what I did is I presented the same sort of idea. However, I presented this idea using GunDB. Okay. Now I'm still using GunDB. So GunDB is a distributed database. It stores data in local storage, and that data is replicated to other users, other peers who have your application installed. And so it's a peer-to-peer system. Okay. It has conflict resolution algorithms, consensus mechanisms. It has its own built-in authentication mechanism. And it's pretty cool. It's a graph database engine written in JavaScript, works in the browser. It's a pretty cool, pretty neat technology. So I'm still using it, but I'm using it in a slightly different way. I'm not using GunDB to store any of the data. All of the data is going to be stored in the user's personal data store. I'm using GunDB as a means by which to aggregate the data that is stored in those pods. Okay, so right now I'm just going to show you the profile manager, and this is all done built on top of Solid, and then I'll speak a bit more about how I've integrated GunDB, how I've merged the two technologies together. Okay, so here's your profile. Okay, so it's a profile. It's public facing profile. You could send that link to an employer or whoever you want, and it could be a CV. You can do whatever you want with it, essentially. Now it's all editable via the front end, and I'll show you that in a minute. I'll log in and I'll show you how to update it. You've got, for example, you can add friends. So we're going to click on Tim's profile here. Okay, and so there's Tim's profile, and you can read various information about him, although he hasn't filled any of this out yet because he probably hasn't seen it. But so you can just sort of you can add friends and all of that kind of stuff. So we've got the basis of a social media platform. Okay, so okay, this is the home page, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to log in. Okay. Now I'm already logged in, so it's just going to be a very quick process for me. With if it's the first time, you will need to register a pod, and then it will redirect you back to this page, and then you'll have to enter your details and so on and so forth. You'll notice it says here re-enter your password. Now you won't be able to see that if you tried it. I can see it because I've got the Chrome extension installed, you see. This is because I'm having to merge two authentication systems together. I'm having to merge the authentication system for Solid and the authentication system for GunDB. So you have to re-enter your password. I wasn't able to get them to integrate seamlessly, but as it currently stands, GunDB, what will happen is it will use your web ID for the username, and it will use the password which you re-enter here. And then what it will do is it will try to log you in. If it can't log you in, because you haven't got an account, it will try to create you an account and then log you in. So it's not seamless, but it's close enough. And I did have some problems as well logging into a Chrome extension using the Solid Authenticator. I'm still working on it. It's a bit clunky at the moment because what I have to do, in fact I'll show you now, just Okay, so what will happen is it sends a this is in an iframe, and what happens is when you press OK, it fires a message to the Chrome extension and basically logs you in to Solid. You see, so it's, it works, it does the job, but it's not what not what I really want. I'd rather to log in directly into the Chrome extension. But anyway, now that we've logged in to both Solid and the Chrome extension, so I'll refresh the page and you'll be able to see down here we've got the toolbar. Okay. Right, so with this toolbar we can like, dislike, and comment and credit. Okay. So anyway, we're going to go to we're going to view the profile. Okay. So now that we're logged in, what you can see is we've got these icons. You see, so as it currently stands, I think. So you can edit profile here. That should, okay, yeah, that worked that time. Tried it before and I couldn't close it for some reason, but anyway, okay. So you can edit and update your information. You've got posts here and things like that, and of course here you just click on it, edit, press save, bang, it's done. All that data, that update will get saved to your personal data store. You see, so really simple, really simple. You can't really go wrong. I mean, you can sort of mess up your, you can mess up some of this text here, but it's pretty straightforward. Now, in terms of things like you've got these photographs and stuff like this, so you'll have a photos folder in your pod. As it currently stands, the way that I'm doing this, although I'll find a different way of doing it, but what you get is in a part of the toolbar, you have some sort of utilities. So you can, for example, make it your profile picture, add to photo gallery, remove photo, rename it, like various other options like this. And that context menu will be it's on every page you visit. So you could just go to Google Images and you could right click and make it your profile image, or you could send it to your photo gallery. You see, so you've got a lot of control over the images through context menus. You see, but I will also build some kind of, well, I may build some kind of image photo gallery, photo editor, photo manager type application into it. However, there's also another photo manager called PicSolid. I wasn't able to log in for some reason. I couldn't seem to get past the first page, but something like that I may try to may ask users to use instead. Okay. So yeah, so you can select different profile types. Okay, so you've got business, public service, charity, and various different profile types. And so what gets shown to the user depends on the profile type. You see, and you could also have it so that it's a personal profile and a business profile, in which case it would display, in which case the user could select between business and profile or whatever. I haven't fully sort of I haven't fully figured out the best way of going about it yet, but you can see here with you click on additional information and a menu sort of pops up or slides down, and then you can sort of edit your profile details there. And of course what you'll have is some kind of search facility so that you can if everybody's you can use a search facility for all kinds of different things. You could use it, for example, for online dating. You could use it as some kind of business directory. There's lots of different uses for this kind of technology, because the data is all completely open for you to search for. But things like internet dating, I think it's a very good example of a good use case for Solid, because if you look at a lot of internet dating sites, the problem, what you want is something that's completely open, something where you can where all applications were interoperable, where you didn't have to kind of register with this website with this amount of users, and then you register with this website or application with this amount of users. What you want is to to cast the biggest net possible. So something like Solid would be really good for that, and it means that and it's open source as well. This application is open source, so it means that we can continuously develop it. And so it means that if somebody else came along and thought, well, they don't think you're doing it the right way, then they can just clone the files and do it themselves, you see. So it's really good for that kind of thing. But there's lots of different uses for Solid, personal data stores, and social linked data. So what else have we got then? I think I've mentioned about the friends. Okay, so let's talk about the browser extension then. Okay, so we've got this toolbar, and so as I said, you can like, dislike, comment, and credit on anything essentially. I think I've probably already commented on this, on this page. There we go. Yeah. So I've already left the comment, and if you go here to the personal data store, yeah, you can see there's the comment. So yeah, so this browser extension, yeah, it's decentralized. Again, it uses GunDB for aggregating the data, and so naturally, what you would want is some kind of another application which collects, which can look at what content is the most liked, what profiles are the most liked. You can read reviews. So, for example, if it was a business directory, then it'd be very useful because you can read reviews about the company and things like this. What else have I got to speak about? Okay, so then that's probably all for now about this particular application. Now, how it relates to some of my previous projects. So if you haven't already, check out some of my previous videos. The first video I made was a video called Devolution, and Devolution is a decentralized governance system. And this profile is a part of that system. So this is just one, because what I decided to do, that devolution application is now obsolete. What I decided to do was break it down into much smaller sections, so that each section was useful in its own right. And then at the end, once I've have enough applications, I can stitch them together and make this sort of governance system. Now you'll notice on the extension, it says where it says the C, and this is for credits, okay? And these credits are basically money, okay? They're basically a token, or they represent money at least. So money gets paid into a smart contract. You pay money into a smart contract, and then you can see it on the toolbar, okay? Okay, so what's this used for? So what I would envision to be the primary use of these credits is to finance public services, and where these credits come from, which I hope, and I understand this is a very ambitious project, is that what I'm trying to do is build actual physical communities. So if you go and look through my videos, you'll see I've designed a modular housing system using aluminium profile. It's a standardized material. You can find it everywhere in the world. Really easy to build, and I've designed it in such a way that it can be constructed, put together a bit like Lego, you see. So nobody needs any special skills to build it. You could theoretically build, something, say, the size of a caravan in about 40 minutes. It just sort of, you have corner panels and it slots in. So it'd be really easy to build, and what I'm trying to do is build physical communities, and then what you do is you rent out these housing modules to members. You rent out the properties to members of the public, and the rent which they pay gets paid into the smart contract and then pushed back to them in the form of these credits, which they can then push back to a public service of their choice. Okay, so I won't go into any more detail about these public services, or because it's kind of complicated, and I've been through all of this already. But then there are other ways that money goes into the application. For example, advertising revenue. Unlike with Facebook, where the advertising revenue goes to Facebook, with this, the advertising revenue gets pushed back in the form of credits. Similar type of thing to what the Brave browser has done. For example, I get these small adverts that pop up every once in a while on the Brave browser, and I get paid a small amount of BAT, basic attention token, each time one of these adverts appear. Okay, so this is quite a good system, but what we need to be doing is using that as a form of kind of tax revenue. It's not really a tax revenue, but the thing is, I mean, because getting paid for adverts, I mean, you can't really do much with it. It's not going to be a lot of money, but of course when you've got like thousands of people, perhaps even millions of people using the system, well then collectively we can actually start to build things, build communities, buy land and things like this. Okay, and so so one of the main purposes of this application is to give people more control over their lives, to give communities more control over their lives, more control over their data, that's about it really. Trying to think what else I need to speak about. Let me just have a quick look. I've got some slides here, and I'll see if there's anything I need to mention. So okay, we've been through some of that stuff. Posts, yeah. Commenting, yeah. Okay, so that's one thing as well as about widgets. So there'll be lots of widgets as well. So this is one example of a widget that I made that allows you to donate ETH to somebody. Now I'll more than likely build this into the platform itself, but there'll be widgets as well. And so really the way it works is you get a link like this, and you just copy and paste that link, and it just gets automatically converted into this widget. And if you've got, providing you got MetaMask installed, or if you're using the Brave browser where MetaMask is already installed. The pop-up will show up, you enter your password, and bang, you can make a payment, you see. So there'll be lots of different widgets, and so this is another extension. This is for notifications. One thing about Solid is that you've got an inbox and you can receive notifications, so that's, we may as well have that on the taskbar. It seems to make sense. A bookmark sidebar is also quite useful for aggregating Solid apps, having a list of the most popular Solid apps. I will be using this for my application because I'm building a sort of an ecosystem of applications, and therefore I need some kind of navigation system. So it makes sense to use bookmarks for that. And you click on, you click on this, and it just slides out basically. And this is an existing Chrome extension. It's open source as far as I'm aware. So I can use that, and this was devolution. But again, like I said, it's obsolete now. I won't be using this anymore. I mean, I'm using all of the ideas, because I spent a lot of time working on this, and it's got sections for all kinds of things. It's got a course builder, it's got a lottery and a slot machine, although they're not really fully functional. But yeah, voting system and a means by which to fund public services and stuff like this. So you can see you've got like a monthly target, and it shows you how much was raised so far, and then you can sort of push your social credits in. So up here you've got your social credits, and so that would be represented on the toolbar. You see, there's the modular housing system. There's the yeah, it's all insulated. It just fits. It slots together with. You've got these corner panels here. Each of these represents a single module. And they all just sort of clip together, and the corner panels slot on, and then the roofing panels slot on. And I've also designed a sort of a modular drainage system as well. It won't be necessarily see-through. These won't, they won't be necessarily be clear panels. I would like to see something, mirrored panels or something like that would be pretty cool. Or whatever. It's up to, depends. You'll have you'll have lots of different options to choose from. But this is the material anyway, so it's all standardized. Very easy to work with. I did a lot of research into different materials, and it's not the cheapest, and I know that, and I wasn't really, the thing about designing a modular housing system, and this is not just true for modular housing, it's true for any kind of modular system, is that you end up with, some small amount of waste. You end up reusing, not reusing, you end up with, duplicate parts essentially. But the thing is that I thought it was a reasonable trade-off. I don't mind if it's slightly more expensive. I mean, it's still going to be cheaper than building a it's still going to be cheaper than building a house. And it's modular. You can move it around. It's freestanding, flat pack. It can be shifted. It can be cleaned easily, maintained, repaired, all of that kind of stuff. So I think it was a reasonable trade-off. And it's going to look nice, look really slick as well, with like mirrored panels. And I've got ideas, I've spoken about this on my video about, using sort of infinity mirrors and things like this for the walls, because you can create this spacious effect using infinity mirrors, and I thought it'd be a nice effect. Yeah, that's pretty much everything. The video is a bit longer than I was expecting it to be, but yeah, alright, thanks for watching.